DJ Immortal, live in the mix.
All right, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live on the air with the legendary CMG from the legendary West Coast rap group Conscious Daughters. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing, Immortal?
I am doing great. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. My listeners have been looking forward to it, so it's an absolute honor to have you up on the platform.
Man, thank you for having me.
Hey.
So happy to be had. It's good to be alive these days, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you on that one. I have to ask you, though, this is probably going to take you way back some years, but what made you decide to get into the music industry?
Oh, well, yeah, this is going to take us way back. So, I should probably go into both of us, special one. So, me growing up, my father is from Philadelphia. He's a musician. He was in a band. And one of his best friends was Frankie Beverly. And his other best friend is Ron Tyson from The Temptations. So my dad was a crooner, and he was heavily into music. He's from the East Coast, and when he moved here, when he moved here and met my mom, and they had me, his friends from the East Coast came out here because they wanted to make it big in California. So me as a kid, I grew up with Maze and Frankie Beverly in my living room because they came to live with us. And I grew up with a lot of musicians around me. So I was a regular at the Berkeley Greek Theater, and I was a band baby. Like, this video of me just running around not paying attention while some of the great artists are playing on stage. So I grew up around a lot of music. My mother was a nurse. She worked all the time. My dad, he was a musician. So all I did was spend time with musicians my whole life. So I know songs from the 60s. I'll hear them, I'll be like, how do I know the words to this song? You know, because I was exposed to it at a very young age. Now, fast forward to junior high school, when I met Special One through a mutual friend. She had a very similar upbringing. Her mother worked for KDIA radio station in the Bay Area. And so her mom was at the radio station for 20 years. So Carol was in the radio station when she was like 3 and 4 years old. So by the time she got to high school, she knew how to operate all the radio equipment, right? And she knew a lot about music. And so both of our backgrounds was really, really, really strong in music. It was a trip that we met through a mutual friend. And so by the time we got to high school, we had a radio station at our high school. It's called KECG, right? So it was a little 10-watt station. And the first thing Carol did was sign up for the radio class. 9th grade, she walked in there, and the teacher said, "Nice to meet you." And she said, "Oh, I know how to work this reel-to-reel and this and that and this and that." And he made her the program director. Like, the first few months, he said, "Okay, you're in charge because you know how to operate all this stuff. You make sure nobody breaks it." You know, so what we did in high school is we started going in there, creeping in there, and making tapes. And that's kind of how it all started, very early.
And that is the story of how the legendary Conscious Daughters got their start, you know? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I look back at it now, I just be like, you know, it's always been in our blood. That's it. You know, and a lot of people say, you know, how did you get along? Because it's hard for women to get along. You know, we've been best friends since we were in 6th, 7th grade. That's when we met. So everything we did was 50-50. If I did an extra verse, we still splitting the song, period. You know what I mean? So I would never do certain things without her. She would never do certain things without me. And that was really, it was the chemistry that we had, the sisterhood that we had, and the loyalty that we had to each other. And because we come from loyal families, you know, my parents are still married. And, you know, my daddy is loyal. As far as I know, he ain't never cheated on my mom. So I got a good, solid, loyal background. Loyalty is everything. And trust is little. Like, we don't trust nobody. So having those values growing up, it just kind of locked us in together, and she had the same values. And I think it really just showed and paid off when we became a group, and we just got out there. We just had confidence because we've been there, done that pretty much.
And I do want to say this for the record. I do want to say my condolences to your friend, Special One. She most definitely was a special one in the music industry, and I know from being a fan of you guys how hard you took it. So I want to say personally, sincerely, my condolences.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And I can't believe it's been, I stopped counting, 8 years now. The time is just flying by. But yeah, that grounded me for a while. But, it's all good because she's my angel now. So there you have it. And every time I perform, you know, I have a DJ DeAndroid that I bring with me, and you know, she will scratch Carol's verses. You know, we always include her in the show, and I still do some throwback shows here and there. So I'm always including her whenever I perform. So I make it a point to do that.
That's the best way to help keep her legacy alive. That's the best way to do it. And I think most definitely she'd be proud of that.
Oh yeah.
So in
Absolutely.
1993, the Conch's Daughters signed with Scarface Records and released your debut album, Ear to the Streets. Can you tell us a bit more about that record deal, and also what's the inspiration behind that album?
Okay, yeah. So basically, as I mentioned, in high school, we were utilizing the radio station equipment. So one day we said, let's make some cassette tapes and go hand them out to people, right? So we get somebody go make us a star one day. So we made all these cassette tapes of our music that we made, and put them on tape and wrote our name, Conscious Daughters, on there. We got some Conscious Daughter hats and some Conscious Daughter jackets. And so just out of high school, we started going out to some clubs. There was an 18 and up club over here that we went to. And about a couple years after that, we went to a digital underground album release party. They had an album release party, and we went there, and we wore our Conscious Daughter coats and hats. And there was a rapper in the building by the name of Paris, who is from San Francisco. He's a conscious rapper. You might know of the Black Panther of hip-hop, Paris. So he was in the building. As soon as he saw Conscious Daughters, he beelined over to us. I didn't know who Paris was. I shouldn't say that. I knew who he was, but I didn't really listen to his music at the time. So when he came over, he said, "Oh, Conscious Daughters, what's that about?" And we was like, "Oh, here's our tape. Listen to our tape." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So he took the tape, and our phone number was on there. He called us like 2 days later. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm starting my own label. And, you know, I'm signed with Tommy Boy right now," because he was on Tommy Boy Records in New York. And we were like, wow, we want to be on a New York label because we love New York rappers. We got a lot of our swag from that. We had all the gangsterness of our West Coast peers, but we had the swagger of a lot of New York rappers because we liked them because they moved around the stage. We didn't want to just stand in one spot and rap like they did out here. We didn't want to be like that. So once he called us, and you know, he said, "Well, let's have a meeting." So we got together, and he said, "Listen, I hate the beats, I love the rap, and I would love to offer you a record deal." So one thing led to another. We signed with Scarface Records, and we started working on an album immediately. I was working at the time. You know, I have a solid background in software development. Straight out of high school, I went to work for a company called Spectrum Holobyte. I'm part of the original development team for the game Tetris. Went from there, went to go work for Lucasfilm Games. I worked for George Lucas for several years. I'm a character in a couple of the video games. I'm a Lucasfilm alumni. You know, I had a strong software background. I started working real early in computers. So anyway, long story short, I was working. So as soon as he said, I'll give you $40,000 to quit your job and go on tour a piece. And I said, $40,000. That was so much money back then. I was like, fuck that job.
Where do I sign?
I was like, what job? Yeah. So that's what happened. We took our job and we went on tour, and you know, everything was just peachy keen. Until one day, Napster came out. That's what took us all down. So yeah, we signed in '93. The first album was awesome. You know, it did well. We broke records. We traveled the world, and it was the greatest experience of my life. We even went on Soul Train, which was to me was like the biggest accomplishment. But yeah, so once we got the second album out, Napster came out, and our record label. All the record labels ceased operation because this new thing called an MP3 was out. People were stealing music. And it was a whole 2-year ordeal. Nothing like the label didn't do. They was like, you got everybody's on hold. We're not putting nothing out. So luckily I had money. We made a lot of money, so I was able to live off of that. But, you know, I ended up getting pregnant during that time and having a kid. And things just kind of started going left. And then the label dropped everybody. Priority Records, by the way, because we had transferred over to Priority in the process. But yeah, and it just really never came back to being the same. After that, then the South just came and took the ball and ran with it. So it was a lot. It was a lot going on that to work against us, and not only us, there's a lot of West Coast artists. You know, it was a thing that happened around that time in the early 2000s, late 90s.
And I have to ask you.
Yeah.
Well, sorry about that.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, I was going to ask you, when you brought up Tetris earlier, I'm telling you, that game always kicked my ass all the time. Is there a secret to actually beating Tetris? Like, I want to ask that. I had to.
Well, honestly, I was a game tester for the original version of it, and I worked for... So, here's the story. It's very interesting. I went to computer school. I went to college, and the only class I liked was computers. So, I said, I don't want to go to college anymore. I'm just going to take a computer class. So I go to a computer trade school. They have job placement. They placed me in a company called Spectrum Holobyte. When I got there, they hired me as a receptionist. So I'm sitting there in the front, and this guy walks in, tall, white dude, afro out to here. And he's like, his name is Alexei Pajitnov. I'll never forget it. And he said, I have a meeting today for my game idea called Tetris. So the guy who invented it basically came in, and they sat and had meetings about the game. So the game started in development. Mind you, I worked on it when it was disc-based. Okay, this was before it was just online and on Nintendo and all that. So, being a game tester, there were people that I worked with that knew how to do the whole thing. I never did it because I didn't spend that much time on it, but we had some people that know how to do it. Yes, there is a way to finish the whole thing. However, a lot of that code has probably changed since we created it. You know, it's gone through a lot of changes. So I couldn't give you any pointers today. And it's been so long. I don't even play it. I played it so much when it came out. I never played it after that. I played that game for hours and hours and hours and years. And then once it came out, I didn't even want to play it. Like I haven't played it since. I don't think. Couple times.
You're probably like everybody else that's new. To me, this is old news. I've already been there, done that.
Yeah. By the way, I moved from receptionist to customer service because we were a small company, and you know, not only was I a receptionist, they were like, here, play this game, find some shit that's wrong with it, report the bugs on this receipt, you know, on this report. So that's how I got into game testing, and then from there, they moved me into product support. So when the customers call, I handled all those calls, trying to tell them, how do I do this, and how do I do that? And they gave me a little sheet on, you know, how to do all the stuff. So it was cool. I'll never forget it. That shit was dope.
So in the year, skipping quite a few years ahead, like in the year 2007, the Conscious Daughters were featured on Nas's track Where Are They Now, West Coast remix, alongside artists such as Ice-T, Sir Mix-a-Lot. What was that experience like, and how did that collaboration with those individuals come to be?
Well, actually, the person who hooked us up with that was Bobcat, DJ Bobcat from Uncle Jam's Army. He, I guess him and Nas, you know, they decided they were going to do a Where Are They Now track. I don't know how they came up with it, but he contacted me and said, hey, you know, Nas is doing this remix and it's called Where Are They Now, and he wants to get you guys on it. Now, mind you, we toured with Nas, and I think that, you know, when he said, well, conscious of the way we raise our daughters, he wrote that when he was on tour with us, in the tour bus.
Oh.
Then he told us. He was like, well, conscious of the way you wrote our daughter, you know, he wrote it. And we was like, wow. And like years later, the song would come out. You know what I mean? So it was interesting. But so unfortunately, we didn't get to go into the studio with all those people. We had to like go and meet and do our verse. And, you know, it was kind of put together. I wish I was able to collaborate with them. But instead, they would just like write a verse, record it, here it is. So the collaboration part was in person was not happening. So we did it, you know, from our own studio and sent it in. But I was so happy that he asked us to do that, and it was an honor to be a part of it. And you know
what? Even though you guys weren't in the studio with them, no one can ever take that away from you. You're still on a song with Nas and Sir Mix-a-Lot and Ice-T. So, you know, no one can ever take that away from you guys.
That's what I'm saying. And also, we toured, now I look back, we toured so much, we missed a lot of, we don't have a lot of collaborations. It's really strange. Most of our work is all us straight up. raw and uncut. When we first did our first album, we was like, no, we don't want no collaboration. We're gonna do this ourselves. We want to be us. And then when the second album came, we got a couple of collaborations, but we traveled so much that by the time we got back, the Napster stuff happened and everything was shut down, and we were planning on collaborating with all these people, and just really never got the chance to collaborate with everybody that we wanted to. So that I'm kind of salty about that, but I'm proud of the catalog and our history and everything of what we've done.
And one of my favorite tracks, actually part of your catalog, and this just came to my mind middle of the interview, was a song called "The Mac Hit." I have to say, your guys' beat on that song is just ruthless. I love the beat. I have to ask you, that song "The Mac Hit." What's the inspiration and story behind that iconic song?
Well, the first thing that we wanted to do is we said, okay, we have to show people that we have skills. So we wanted to have some fast, up-tempo rhymes. We didn't want to rap slow. Funky Expedition was kind of, I'm just riding side. And let's say, and we don't want a whole bunch of songs like that. We want to be able to show people what we have. So the Mac Hit came out based on a song about us macking, because that's when macking was out, right? Yeah. We was macking people, we was macking dudes, we was macking on our track, and it was just a Mac Hit. And it was just that's where it came from. And it was just about straight fucking them up. The Mac flow, the Mac Hit.
And I have to say, once that song starts, how the beat kicks in, I love the beat. The beat is what brings me right to that song. You know what I mean? It's just that hard, ruthless beat. I love it. It's most definitely the Mac Hit.
Yeah, for sure. I do have to say, Paris is, a musical genius. Paris, the Black Panther of hip hop. If it wasn't for him, there would be no conscious artists. Of course, he is a black man who believes in black women, and he stands for a lot of positivity. And he when we first wanted to do all this cussing and talking about drinking 40s and smoking weed, he was like, because that to him was belittling the black culture. And, he didn't want us to get out there looking like, so he said, I tell you what, you guys write your songs about your 40s, and every album needs to have a message track on it, a positive message track. So our first album, we did a song about teenage pregnancy. Second album, we did a song about AIDS, the AIDS epidemic. And then on our third album, we did a song about domestic violence. So, it was, his beats was just banging. He was just an awesome producer, and I think the way that the albums were put together was awesome because it was street, but it was positive. And, he just had the beats banging. I think Dr. Dre is a big influence of his, and, so is the Public Enemy, Empire, the Shockleys, and people like that. So, Paris really brought beats that brought it out in us. He brought the beats that we were never able to make for ourselves or get from our homeboy from down the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
When you first starting out, you just getting all little Casio beats, Casio keyboard beats, and he came with the big bass boom, and then took us to Hollywood where Big Bass Brian, one of the greatest sound engineers in the world, mastered our album. So it just gave us this super sound. It was awesome.
And skipping a few years after 2007, in 2011, you released your solo album called The Jane of All Trades. I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that project? And also, where can our listeners buy a digital copy? And also, do you have hard copies available for the old school listeners as well?
So, yes. The idea from this, it started off with one thing and turned into another thing. The idea for that album came because Outkast did an album where each member did their own album, right? And then they put it in a package set. So we said we were going to do that, right? So, and at the time, Carol was going through a lot of stuff at that time, and she was being derailed and things. And so I was just like, well, I'm moving forward on doing my album, and I just really got into it, and I finished before she did. And actually, the album came out in 2010, or 2009, one of the two. 2010, and she died in 2011. So right when that album was was releasing, she passed away, and so I never did much with it, but I'm going to re-release it. And it is available. It's just the problem is if you type in Conscious Daughters, it doesn't come up. So right now I'm going through trying to get that, my keywords set properly, so whenever you search Conscious Daughters, you can find my album. But you have to search CMG, the Jane of all trades, in order to find it. So it doesn't always pop up. A lot of people don't know about it. I didn't spend any money to promote it because I wanted to give my sister, I used the money to give her a great funeral, and just to, sit and think for a minute because, I didn't know, it just threw me all the way off. I had no interest in putting that album out or supporting it at the time. So that's kind of what had happened was.
Oh, and that's
completely now I'm actually finishing another album. Yeah, I'm finishing another album right now. And what's crazy about this is Jane of All Trades is an awesome album. I got Keith Murray on there, a song with Keith Murray, San Quinn, Mike Marshall from Look at All These Rumors. He sang an awesome hook for me. I got a good amount of people on there. Definitely check it out. I am going to re-release that, and I have another album coming out. Now, the trip thing about this new album that I'm putting out is it's off the hook. It is totally crazy, street-fueled. It's like a movie. It's a whole bunch of stuff that I would probably never do. It's just me, doing all kinds of everything you can think of that's totally not me. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but it's going to be off the hook. It's very ghetto and very danceable, and it's very fun, enlightening, and very street at the same time. So it's going to be kind of an unconscious album, if you will.
Do you have an estimated release date for that record by any chance?
I haven't finished it yet, so I won't. Yeah, it will definitely be before the end of the year. I really want to get my first single out by early summer. So I want to have a single done and ready to go by April. And right now I'm only 6 songs in, and I plan on doing 12. So assuming the next 2 months goes as I plan, I'll be able to pick a strong single to just throw out there. I'm going to do that anyway. So a single will be out by summer. The album, I definitely will be out by Christmas, but I am hoping sooner.
Almost definitely.
And I also have to step up my social media game. This time around, I'm hiring a marketing person to help me get the word out. It's just going to be a whole different scenario than what the last album was. So hopefully, you'll see banners crossing your timeline.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I'm most definitely going to pick up that record whenever it drops as well. You can count on a record sale right here. But in 2012, I have to ask this: the Conscious Daughters, both of you guys were inducted into the Universal Zulu Nation awards. Can you tell us a bit more about that and how it came to be, and what was the feeling knowing you guys got inducted?
Well, wow. I mean, that to me was something that I never thought that would happen. So what happened was there's a chapter of Zulu Nation. There's a Zulu Nation chapter in San Francisco, mostly comprised of DJs and awesome dancers. And they give a lot of events. And Carol and I are very present, were very present in the underground rap scene. And we love DJs and competitions, and we would always go to those events. So wherever you're seeing, the DJ battles or, what's the name of those girls? There were some girls called Sisters from somewhere, and they used to have dance shows and dance battles, and we always would go there. DJ DeAndroid and Selsky were 2 awesome DJs that are just badass Asian women that just really put it down, and we would always go to their shows. So I think that being that they were a good number of them were from the Zulu Nation, I think they looked at us and they saw that we really represented the culture of, number 1, giving back to the community, number 2, loving the art of hip-hop and doing it because you love the art of hip-hop, and number 3, being a positive inspiration for anybody who was coming up, because we would always go and give advice. Like if they say, come to our panel, we show up at the panel and just start talking, and advising people or whatever. We never asked for money. It wasn't about that. It was always about doing what we could to help the next woman, especially a minority women. And majority of that chapter are Asian men and women. And so being able to help them, they would have, what is this, top things, party for tots in schools and all these things. So, you know, we would go to those events, and I think they just awarded that to us because they saw what we were doing. And one day, out of nowhere, I got an email saying, hey, we'd like to induct you into the Zulu Hall of Fame, and can you come to this event? And it was awesome. It was great. So we got these beautiful beads and the Zulu necklace, and there was a whole ceremony. You got to fill out paperwork and, you know, do all that stuff and, you know, kind of pledge to be always a positive inspiration to younger people. You know, my pledge is, listen, I'm not perfect, okay? Let's get that out the way. Number two, I will always inspire the young kids, okay? Now, if you see me doing the fool, that's because I'm grown and my shit is together. That don't mean you can do it, right? So, you know, I'm just like, there's you know, ways to give back to the community. So, and then we help with like coat drives. I would go around and collect coats for the homeless and take them up to the Zulu Nation, and they would go do whatever they do with them. So it's a great chapter of people. Definitely look them up. Zulu Nation, San Francisco. And I always said, I don't know why they don't have one in Oakland. They said they were trying to start one, but San Francisco is close enough. Because the next one after that, I think, is in like Arizona or something like that. So San Francisco is close enough, and you know, people should look them up and definitely get involved with. They clean up schools. They're constantly doing community work. A lot of them are teachers and real successful people, and they just love hip hop. And I love going to their parties because that shit be banging. Everything I could just sit there and listen to the music for hours and hours and hours and watch them dance and. You know, they bring art. It's going down. That's a party right there.
Yeah, I actually had a guest from the Universal Zulu Nation of New York actually on the show last night. The international DJ Finesse, and he actually brought along the Point Blank MCs.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, cool.
We went way back on that one, most definitely.
Yeah, there were some issues with the leader of that establishment, but I don't know what's going on with that. I try to stay out of that. I don't really know what's what, but I've never had the pleasure of meeting Africa Bambaataa, but you know, what he started has really become a positive thing, regardless of what's going on with him. This has been a positive, as far as I can see. The San Francisco chapter is all that. They're everything. So I don't know many from the New York chapter, but yeah, not personally. I know several people. But not personally, like I know these guys out here.
So, and this Sunday, on February 16th, yourself, CMG, will be in Oakland for the Female Legends of Hip Hop Remembrance event. Can you tell us a bit more about that event? Also, where can our listeners get tickets? When do the doors open? The times? That way, if our listeners want to come and check you out and come see you live, could you give us that information?
Actually, I can't because I'm not even aware of that.
Oh.
Where did you see it? I have no idea what that is.
I actually saw that on Google. Sorry, everyone. Never listen to what you hear on the internet, I should say. Damn. Okay. My bad.
Well, I mean, hey, it could be, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, forward that to me so I can show up.
Most
So I
definitely.
can show up and be like, why the hell y'all didn't call me?
All right, perfect. Yeah, what I'll do is actually when we get off the air, I'll forward that to you on Facebook Messenger for you.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to know more about it, just follow @Conscious Daughters. And a lot of people don't spell conscious right, so they be like, I can't find you. So make sure you spell conscious right. I don't know why we got that long, confusing name, but @Conscious Daughters, and I'm definitely going to follow up on this and post some information on that on Instagram, and it's Conscious Daughters on Facebook, and all good Snapchat, whatever social media you have. Look up Conscious Daughters, and I'm definitely going to follow up and put some information about that.
And I want to ask you, there's a lot of female artists in the industry today that are really trying to come up and be a successful, established member of the hip hop community. And I want to ask you, what's some great advice you can give these young girls that are trying to make it as an artist?
Well, first of all, I want to say, before I comment on that, I want to say that it's a whole different environment now. I understand that when I came out, there weren't that many. I mean, there was a lot of women rappers, but there was no social media. There was no. You had to literally get up, go drive to the club, stand on the stage, and rap in front of people to be seen. And so I come from that era where it was all about show and prove for me. So what I would tell somebody, and first of all, what really shows is you can tell when somebody's really rapping because they love it and it's from the heart, and it's because you love the art and you love the music, and it comes across very naturally. Then there's other people that just do it because they want the fame, and that also stands out. Unfortunately, nowadays, people who want the fame is okay and it's accepted, and they do all these crazy things to be heard. So back when I was coming up, you couldn't just wake up one day and say, I want to be a rapper. I have been rapping since I would say 10, 11, and way back in the day. So I knew how to bust rhymes and raps, but it was meaningful. Now you can just say anything. Anybody can rap, and everybody's a rapper. So it's very hard to get seen and heard when the industry is flooded. So my advice would be when you stand out and do as many in-person appearances as you can, because that's really what's going to show people. You need to be able to go on the radio and bust a freestyle. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able, somebody need to walk up to you and say, they used to walk up to me and be like, bust a rhyme. And I was a great freestyler when I was younger, but as I got older, I wasn't that great. But guess what? I always kept the rap in the back of my mind. Something was coming out. You know what I'm saying? Because I was always ready. So if you stay ready, you won't have to get ready. And I just feel like there's so many women out there, and in order to be different, you can't really. I just think it's more than just sitting at home and posting stuff on social media. Spend some time, showing up and going to some of these radio shows and trying to get on the air. And I think that's what's going to get you there, because once you get to these DJs, it's all about getting a DJ to play your song. To me, that's the route I'm going. I'm not about to sit up here and go online and be like, listen to me all damn day. I'm going to go to the club, to my DJ friend, give him the song, tell him to play it, then I'm going to come back and perform it, and go to the next club and do the same. So that would be my advice.
And that's some very solid advice.
Don't be lazy.
That's some real shit. I'm going to be honest, that's some real shit. That's some real advice.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of old school and new school, and see, that's the thing. I'm looking at myself, I'm thinking, am I too old to be rapping? Because, there's a thought about that. But you know what? I still got it. And not only do I have knowledge from then, I have knowledge from now. And if I can get a good, solid mix of then and now, bitches is dead. They're like, I will kill you. I won't even show my face. I'll make up a new name to come out and kill everybody. They won't even know it's OG, CMG. I'll come out like that rapper, Lakey Lee. I love her. She never shows her face. She's got all these hit songs, and so I don't know. I'm just trying. I might do something different like that. I don't know. I might start a new trend of old ass rappers coming on back.
So I have to
ask you this. Not all of y'all though. Not all of y'all. not all y'all motherfuckers can do it now. I done heard some of that shit y'all putting out. Some of that shit is just the same. You gotta update it without doing too much.
That is true. I agree with that. There is some legends. I'm not going to say all. There is some legends out there that are really trying to get with the new school.
Yeah, I heard this Redman. I heard this Spice One. Fire. Brand new Spice One. Brand new Redman. Certain people don't have to change, and they make it through the time. You just have to hope that you can be one of those people. Originally, when I first started, I was a hardcore rapper. There wasn't a lot of hard females. And now everybody sounds like me. So I got to be different. I have to come with the lyrics and the songs and the beats and the hooks. That's going to be beyond what you're doing, so that I can do to show the next level of me. But yeah, some people got it. They can just move on. And Spice One and Redman, and Method Man, people like that, they do albums as fire to me. I'm like, wow.
Have you actually heard Redman's one of Redman's newest tracks called "Slap the Shit Out Your Mouth"? the video to that. Oh my god, I was laughing my ass off.
He is a damn fool. Chicken taking ass. I love him. You know what I'm saying? So that's motivation for me. I'll put that on, that'll motivate me. I'll be up and I had 2-3 songs done listening to that.
Oh, most definitely. CMG, I have to ask you this. So, other than your new album that you're working on and whatnot, what's next for you? Like any other projects, anything, any other shows you want to tell our listeners about? What's next for you?
Well, you know, I definitely want to do some more songs for video games. As you know, we have 2 songs on Grand Theft Auto 5 and on GTA. So that was an awesome thing. So I'm looking to do more. Like also, I'm producing some television shows. I've been working on this for 10 years. Okay. So finally, and I have, you know, friends and people that have mentored me that are in television, and it's a little bit easier to put things out now. I have a little bit of money put away, so I'm going to invest in myself, and I'm going to put out some television shows, and I'm going to do all the music for it myself, and so that I can have royalties and money going forward as I, you know, step into the next part of my life. I do not, you know, I'm going to be the old lady in the chair that's going to be dancing to all the young people stuff. Talking about, where your granddaddy at? I refuse to get old. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm just going to, you know, move on. More television, definitely. And, you know, this will probably be the last album I do. I don't know. But if I do more, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to drop another one immediately after it, and then I'm going to drop another one immediate after that. As long as I feel good doing it, I'm going to keep doing it. And if I get, you know, 3,000 people of my hundreds of thousands of fans to, you know, stream it, I'll be happy with that. That's 3,000 people I may smile or groove or dance to. So, yeah, that's what's up. And then I have a lot of vocals of Carol's. I'm going to bring them back and resurrect them. And, you know, I finally collected all her vocals, and I've just been sitting on them, honestly. They just been sitting there. So I'm pulling them out. I'm, you know, passing them to the producer and letting him sort through, and we trying to figure out what we're going to use, and, you know, so I can give her mom some money. For sure.
That honestly sounds like a great plan. I really do hope in the future I get to see some of those amazing TV shows that you're cooking up, and most definitely get to hear some more special ones. I think that that's most definitely well overdue. You know what I mean? It's going to be good to hear her voice again.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going for some collaborations on this. I have no plans to. There's no replacement for Special One, of course. But I do want to, every song, I'm going to do, I can handle a whole song by myself, but I listen to people's album, I'll be like, I don't want to hear you just, like, after a while, you get tired of hearing the same motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So each song needs to be crafty, creative, take you to a different place, and not the same. So my flows are definitely going to change up a lot. You know, that's a secret sauce right there. Don't write that down because I don't want everybody to steal it. But, you know, one thing that you don't want to do is sound the same on every damn song. So I'm definitely not doing that. I'm going after Rage. I want to do a song with Lady of Rage. We've never done that. I have got to get her. I want to do a song with Yo-Yo. Never did a song with her. Got to get her. You know, and, yeah, and some other people. But, you know, I just call those 2 out because that's something that, you know, that's my bucket list right there. And Missy Elliott, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get her. She's my other thing. But I'm going after everybody. Either all they can do is say no.
Hey, you know what? And it doesn't hurt to knock on those doors. You know, when I first started, I know it's a little different, but when I started in radio, you know what I mean? A wise person once told me, you know, knock on one door. If it shuts, go to the other. Knock on that door. You know? It's anything you can do. And I got to say, you and Yo-Yo, I think would be an absolute fire track. I really do think that song, oof, it's going to melt people's hard drives. I'm going to tell you that for a fact.
Well, I have to tell you this. We did a show together in San Francisco. It was Contra Daughters, me, I opened up the show. Lady of Rage, Yo-Yo, and I think it was one other person. That show was so hot fire when I tell you, oh my God. And I told the guy who was giving it, I was like, man, where are y'all promoters at? You need to put this on a trial tour, even if we just go, you know, from here to Texas. I don't give a damn. Let's look this up. Because everybody was, you know, so into it. So, but yeah, that was a hot ticket right there. Yo-Yo, Conscious Daughters, and Lady of Rage on the West Coast. Bad girls. We pull up in an old school drop top, on the stage and shit, and hop out. Oh man, that shit is crazy.
Oh man,
that shit was crazy.
So I got to ask you this, CMG. This is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that comes on my show just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, and also your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you in your journey if they're not already doing so.
Yeah, I really want to shout out any and everybody who listens to our music and really like it. One thing I can say is people, you don't know how inspired I get when you write onto my page and say, oh, I love you guys were this and you guys were that, because it takes me back to that. And I just want to shout out all the supporters, anybody who is in a female rapper up and coming. Feel free to send me a message if you have any questions or anything I can help you with. I only do free verses. Now, if you ask me for a verse, do not ask me to craft your whole song. Okay, it's a verse. I'm not doing the song for you, because you got to do it yourself. But I do and will be willing to work with up-and-coming artists, and I'm happy to help them. And just, all the DJs who support us and Conscious Daughters and our family and friends and all of y'all, I appreciate you listening in today. And, just check at Conscious Daughters on IG, at The Daughters on Twitter, and Conscious Daughters on Facebook and Snapchat. Right now, you could just Google us, and all those will come up, and I would love to talk to people. So, yeah, I'm always on there. I don't post a lot of stuff because I'm old school, but I'm about to hire somebody that's going to help me turn up the social media so I can share a lot more with you guys. Definitely the making of this album. I'm about to share some videos and do a documentary of how the album's being made and all this stuff. So it's up and coming. I'm just trying to get it together.
But I do want to say, CMG, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live. It was an absolute honor and a privilege for you to be able to come on the platform and provide not only myself, but our listeners with your time. Thank you so much. Good luck on that new album. I know you don't need it. It's going to be absolute fire. I hope you have yourself a wonderful week as well. And hopefully down the road we can do this again.
I'm going to send you a drop.
Oh, I can't say no to that.
I'm going to send you a drop, a nice drop. To roll on with. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you so much, CMG. You have yourself a wonderful night, and I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
All right. One love.